Here we're going to continue. So now I'm going to distribute the 7. So square root of 7 times square root of 7 would become square root of 49. Since they're all square roots, I can just multiply them. So square root of 7 minus square root of 3 is minus, and then square root of 21. Then plus square root of 42. Square root of 6 times square root of 3 would be square root of 18. Square root of 49 is 7. That's one of your perfect square roots. So basically, anytime you're multiplying something times itself and it's in a radical, you're really squaring it. So it's like the square root disappears. So now I'm going to see if I can simplify root 21. That's 7 times 3. Since these are already prime, that means square root of 21 is already simplified. There's no pairs. Let's try square root of 42. That would be 2 times 21. Again, here we see no pairs, so square root of 42 is already simplified. And let's try square root of 18. That would be 9 times 2. So it becomes 3 square root of 2. So this one we could simplify. Here, since there's no like terms, that means we're done. So this would be our final answer. This next one, we're going to start with 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Now 2 times negative 1 root 6. We can't multiply the 2 times square root of 6 because they're not alike. So we're just doing 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. And the root 6 goes at the end. Here, the same thing. You can't do 5 times 6 because this has a radical and this doesn't. So it's just 1 times 6, which is 6. And then you put the radical 5 at the end. Here, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. And 5 times 6 are both radicals, so we multiply them to get radical 30. So here, 12 stays the same. If we try to simplify root 6, it can't. It's already simplified, so this stays the same. Same thing with root 5. You can only do 5 times 1, so it's already simplified. Let's check if we can do 30. So root 30 is already simplified too because there's no pairs. I don't have to have the imaginary 1 there, so it can just be minus root 30. This next one's the same concept, it's just now we're squaring. Remember, when you square something, you can multiply it times itself. So that's your first step, is to rewrite it. Now I'm going to do 5 times 5, which is 25. Here I'm going to put 1. So 5 times 1 is 5, and then we put the root 11 at the end. Same thing here. 1 times 5 is 5, then we put the root 11 at the end. And then 1 times 1 is 1. And 11 times 11 is 121. So here we have 25. Root 11 is already simplified, because if you were to try to do it, it would only be like 11 times 1. But these are like terms. So 5 and 5 is going to give us 10 root 11 plus 1. And the square root of 121 is actually a perfect square root. It's 11. So we would get 1, sorry, I already put that. So it's plus 1 times 11. So 1 times square root of 121 becomes 1 times 11. Or just 11. So again, anytime you're multiplying the same radical times itself, it really just takes off the square root. Now we can combine our whole numbers. 25 and 11 is 36. So it becomes 36 plus 10 root 11.